Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to get straight to the heart of the stories that affect you. Today, we're doing something really focused. We're diving into just one source, a single, quite powerful editorial from the Boca Raton Tribune dated September 9th, 2025. And the title, it kind of says it all. Save Boca and Frisbee-Terra step up as City Hall falls silent. So our mission here is simple. Pull out the key insights from this one piece. We're looking at that classic, sometimes messy interaction between local government, a big development project, and, well, the community. What does it tell us about civic action, about accountability? It might be more revealing than you think. Okay, let's unpack this because the Tribune, they jump right in. No messing around. It starts with a pretty strong take on democracy. Right away, it zeroes in on the main event, this Frisbee-Terra project in Boca Raton. And the paper makes it clear this was no small matter. The conflict wasn't just abstract. It was about things people could see and touch, things they valued. We're talking cherished green space, these amazing century-old banyan trees, and even, incredibly, what the article calls the sacred grounds of the memorial park. You know, the Tribune really emphasizes this, calling the park a place of memory and respect that should never have been treated as a disposable detail. And that framing, calling these things the soul of the city, is powerful stuff, isn't it? Is that a common strategy, elevating local issues like this?
Oh, absolutely. And it's incredibly effective. What's striking here is how fast the article points to these things that, really resonate deeply with people. It's a smart tactic in local advocacy.
Yeah.
Because look, green space isn't just grass, right? It's community health, recreation, those old trees, their living history, symbols, and Memorial Park. Well, that's about shared identity, memory. When those specific things feel threatened, it's not just a planning dispute anymore. It becomes a fight for the community's character. Its soul, like you said.
Yes.
It gets people engaged much faster than arguing about, I don't know, zoning codes. It really galvanizes people.
Right, it makes it personal. So faced with this kind of emotional, community-driven pushback, how did City Hall react? Well, according to the Tribune, they chose a strategy of spin. That's a pretty direct accusation right there. The editorial paints a picture of rehearsed speeches, half-truths, and vague promises, all while, crucially, ignoring the real concerns of residents. The mayor gets specific criticism, too, for choosing convenient silence and trying to push this controversial plan without real debate. This idea of spin from City Hall, what does that typically look like at the local level? And does it actually work to deflect concern?
Well, it's a pattern you definitely see. When officials face strong opposition, especially on something they want to push through, spin can take a few forms. Sometimes it's routing concerns to committees that just study things forever, delay tactics. Or they might dump huge amounts of technical data on people, information overload to kind of bury the key issues. Or the opposite, only sharing the good bits. And sometimes public meetings feel more like check-the-box feedback sessions, not real dialogue. This kind of approach, the convenient silence the Tribune mentions, it doesn't just delay things, it really erodes trust. It makes people feel ignored, which often just fuels more opposition, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it backfires. So City Hall is quiet, maybe using spin. It's easy to feel powerless, but the article highlights this group, Save Boca, who just refused to accept that. They took the lead, stepping up when the city apparently wouldn't. It's presented as a really stark contrast. And the paper says how they made a difference. It credits their persistence for forcing changes, for exposing the contradictions, and this is key for giving citizens a voice when their elected leaders failed to do so. They weren't just complaining, they were actively changing the game. But then here's where it gets really interesting. The Tribune makes this incredibly direct statement about who deserves the credit. It says, flat out, if the Frisbee-Terra project has been scaled back in significant ways, credit does not belong to the mayor, it belongs to Save Boca.
Wow. Yeah, that is quite a statement.
Right, giving all the credit to a citizen group, not the elected officials. What does that tell us about power dynamics here?
Well, it tells us a lot. This isn't just about one project, is it? It's about the real power of community advocacy. The Tribune statement really shows how power actually works when citizens get organized and, frankly, persistent. It's about informal power challenging the formal structures. Say Boca probably did all the things you'd expect, digging into the details, showing up at meetings, talking to the press, maybe even looking at legal options. Just relentless pressure. Now, you could also say maybe part of their success was what they were defending those trees, the park. Those things carry a lot of emotional weight.
That's a good point. It wasn't just any issue.
Exactly. But it still underlines that citizen groups can be more than just reactive. They can shape outcomes. They act as a check on power, both government and corporate, especially when they tap into those core community values.
Okay, so citizen action is key. But then the editorial throws in another twist. While City Hall gets criticized for silence, The developer, Frisbee-Terra, despite their own initial missteps, as the article puts it actually, has shown more willingness to listen than City Hall itself.
Yeah.
Unexpected, right? The company behind the controversial plan ends up being more responsive. Apparently, they rolled back several proposals, making the project less harmful and more in line with community demands. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's fascinating. It points to something really important to the business world, this idea of a social license to operate. It's not a piece of paper. It's the community's ongoing acceptance. If a company loses that, especially because of strong, organized opposition like Save Boca, the cost can get really high. Bad PR, legal fights, delays, damage to their brand for future projects, it all adds up.
So it becomes a business calculation for them.
Pretty much. A city government might try to ride out the political storm with spin, but a private company often sees negotiation and compromise as the smarter strategic move. It shows that determined advocacy can really shift corporate behavior. When people unite and dig in their heels, even big players have to adjust. It forces alignment with community values.
Or a real aha moment there. But we can't forget the messenger in all this, the newspaper itself. The Boca Raton Tribune isn't just reporting the facts here, are they? They're taking a very clear stand. They quote themselves saying, "Journalism does not operate on wait until October. Journalism operates on facts, evidence, and accountability." That's quite a declaration of principle.
It really is.
And they follow it up with pledges. This newspaper will not bow to pressure, will not publish half-truths, and will not remain silent in the face of government neglect. They explicitly state their duty is to our readers and to the future of this city.
Yeah, this part really highlights the crucial role of local journalism, doesn't it? The Tribune is clearly defining its mission here. They're not just observers. They're positioning themselves as guardians of truth, community interest, challenging the official story. In a time when local news is often struggling, this is a powerful reminder of why it matters. A strong, independent local paper is a vital check on power. They investigate, they question, they give voice to dissent, they shape the conversation. By publicly stating their commitment to facts and accountability, they're basically saying, we're watching. You can't operate in the dark.
They're holding feet to the fire.
Exactly. It forces officials and developers to be answerable. I've seen it happen elsewhere. Persistent local reporting can absolutely change outcomes, even against powerful interests. It's that relentless commitment that makes the difference.
So, a powerful press, powerful citizen action. But the story isn't over. The Tribune says the battle is far from over. It mentions critical issues still unresolved, things like traffic, density, parking. And it says, Save Boca will remain vigilant. This isn't a quick win.
No, definitely not.
And there's a direct challenge to the mayor. If he wants credibility back, he needs to ditch the posture of omission and actually do his job. Listen, question, and defend the true interests of Boca Raton. Those remaining issues, traffic, density, parking, why are those often the really tough nuts to crack, even after a win on something like saving a park?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because saving the trees, the park, those are emotional, symbolic victories, very tangible. Traffic, density, parking. They're more complex, systemic issues. They involve infrastructure, long-term planning, competing needs. Think about density. Good for some goals, maybe like housing, but it impacts traffic, parking, quality of life for existing residents. There aren't always easy answers or clear winners.
Right, it's all trade-offs.
Exactly. It requires money, complex solutions, difficult compromises. It's not like a tree you save or don't save. These are ongoing management problems. So for Save Boca, staying vigilant means shifting gears, moving from defending those symbolic assets to engaging in the long, hard slog of shaping the city's future development day in and day out. It's a much longer fight.
So reflecting on all this, what does it mean for you, listening right now? This deep dive really gives us a kind of blueprint, doesn't it, for how local fights often play out and where the real power can lie when people decide to use their voice. Okay, let's quickly recap. We dove into this one specific editorial from Boca Raton. We saw the initial threat from the Frisbee-Terra project, hitting those core community values, green space, history. We looked at City Hall's reaction, the alleged spin, the silence, the breakdown in trust. But crucially, we saw the impact of the Save Boca group. How persistence, focused on those resonant issues, really did force change. We saw the developer, surprisingly, showing more willingness to adapt, likely due to that social license idea. And we didn't forget the role of the local paper, the Boca Raton Tribune, standing firm on accountability and truth-telling.
And pulling it all together, this whole story from the Tribune just hammers home that local democracy. It isn't something you just switch on and let run. It's active. It demands constant engagement. It needs citizens paying attention, local media asking tough questions, and leaders, well, being held accountable by both, especially when you're talking about the things that make a community feel like home. The parks, the history, the overall character. That protection only happens through active involvement. Real power, it seems, often comes from that collective, informed, persistent voice.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it gives you some food for thought about how these dynamics might be playing out, or could play out, right in your own backyard. Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and stay engaged.